Okay, everyone, we are going to start the workshop. So please take a seat. Before we start, I would like to thank warmly the Blockchain Center and the Frankfurt School for hosting us today. So we are going to have a few introductory words from Philipp here, and then we will be starting the session. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to have this workshop being hosted here by Ludovic. Ludovic works for Consensus. Consensus runs a large-scale project for the European Union or for the European Commission. It's about observing the blockchain space, it's about bringing people together, it's about networking. I think you will explain this later on more, but just to emphasize this in the very beginning. Of course, it's an pan-EU organization. We don't have own rooms, therefore you are using our rooms as a university, which is our deal actually. Therefore, I'm very happy to have you all experts here. And to very quickly help you with this, in Germany we have sometimes very bad cell reception. I think you know this. Therefore, here is our Wi-Fi code for this building, which typically works very well. Next, to quickly introduce us, we have built the Blockchain Center 2.5 years ago because we would like to foster blockchain technology, also from an educational perspective. The point is that the entire area of business will change in the upcoming 5 to 10 years, and actually everything will change here. It's going much more in the area of computer science and IT, and that's why we as a university also would like to educate people such that they getting knowledge which is actually needed in +5 and +10 years. We are running the Blockchain Center similarly like Fraunhofer. So Fraunhofer is basically our role model. They are having applied research projects. We are doing the same here. We are doing 2 projects for the European Commission. For example, this can also be interesting for this round here. We are running the so-called block student projects where we are bringing SMEs together with blockchain technology, and a similar project which is called Block Share, which is also about bringing education to SMEs. What you see here is our profile. As I said, we are doing applied research projects and of course also education. We are industry funded. Unfortunately, the city, the country or the region and also the federal government of Germany at this point of time not spend so much money in blockchain, therefore we have to rely on industry funding. Luckily the EU is really pushing this topic from above, which is pretty nice. The agenda will be presented by you. I skipped this, and just to outline one thing which is in my mind very important. Everybody knows blockchain technology now. Everybody knows it to some degree. But the point is here that the technology is in the very, very, very early beginning, and therefore we all should not expect too much because it just takes some time. What you see here is the market penetration curve of the smartphone. Everybody now in the room is having at least one smartphone, right? But don't forget the time when there was the iPhone 1 and even earlier years when there was not one smartphone out there. So it took us 14 years or 15 years to go from a market penetration from 0% to 100%. Yeah, so for 15 years. And if we are now matching this to the blockchain world, then in my mind we are in the very, very early beginning, right in a position where now this kind of curve is deviating from the x-axis by exactly 1 pixel. That's in the very early stage. The promises are clear, the use cases are clear, that's why we are meeting here, but we should not oversell the technology because it just will time for digital transformation. But it's also clear what happens. It will again take, say, 15 years or 20 years until market penetration has reached 100%. Market penetration measured in this case by storing all kinds of transactions, money, securities, stocks, Bitcoin, and all kinds of currencies on top of blockchain-based system. That would be 100%. And I'm really of the opinion that at some point of time the euro will run on some kind of blockchain system, same with all kinds of securities, stocks, and potentially also lots of data and access to data, which then also includes supply chain tracking, pharmaceutical tracking, patient data records, and so on. And that's how we are then in this topic. But keep this chart in mind, the technology will come. It's exactly the right point in time to deal with it, but also don't overestimate the technology. It will take some time until production-wise systems are ready to go on the market. That's it from my perspective. I hand over back to Ludovic, who will now say some more words. Right.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Philipp, and again, thanks a lot for hosting us today. So my goal right now is to give you a bit of introduction about the Observatory and Forum, because I know that there are many new faces here. We have actually organized already 9 workshops during the lifespan of the Observatory, so I want to give you the opportunity to learn more about the Observatory and tell you about what is going to happen today. So very quickly, the Observatory and Forum is a 2-year project that has been launched actually last year in February, and what we do very practically is that we create a center of expertise around blockchain technology, and this is done through many means. The first one is to organize workshops like today, so we have organized so far 9 workshops on a different set of topics. These topics can span around the legal and regulatory framework, but also on the use cases. Today will be a discussion mainly on the use cases, obviously, and some of the discussions that we have previously held were, for example, around blockchain and digital identity, blockchain in government services, the use of blockchain for supply chains. These are all topics that we were interested in. There are some topics that will be covered before the end of the Observatory. And thank you again for being here. As many of you are experts of the industry in order to advance the topic of blockchain and healthcare today. The second element that we produce are research papers. These research papers are produced in collaborations with the different universities that are part of the Observatory and Forum. And finally, we produce reports, and these reports bear an explanation of the industry or the case that we are currently highlighting, and also a set of recommendations for the industry or for policymakers. So this is what we are doing. And as part of the Observatory, we have different channels. The most important ones are, of course, our website, where all the information, all the research, and all the reports that we produce are stored there. But there are also 2 other main elements. The first one is the initiatives map. So the Observatory has an undergoing effort in order to map the European and worldwide ecosystem, blockchain ecosystem. And so we currently have more than 700 initiatives that are registered. These initiatives can be startup initiatives, government initiatives, academic research, or any other elements that is related to blockchain, and it gives a good understanding and a good view about what's happening currently in the ecosystem. And finally, we have a forum. It's actually in the name of the Observatory and Forum. And so this is a very important part also for us. We have a community of more than 1,700 people who discuss on the different topics that are of interest for us. So this was for the brief introduction regarding the Observatory. Again, we are very happy to bring so many experts today around this discussion. And what we'll be covering today is the following. So we have a pretty packed agenda, and which is for a good reason. Healthcare bears a lot of promises for blockchain technology, and so we have a lot of elements to highlight today. The first element that we are going to share with you is an update on what's currently happening at the European level on these topics. And so this is why we have here representatives of the European Commission who will be presenting you on this subject. Then we will be having different sessions on use cases. The first one will be highlighting the use cases in clinical trials, or blockchain in clinical trials. And in the afternoon, we will have a Zoom on everything that is related to patients' data, so the aggregation, exchange, and monetization of this data. Finally, we will have a last session that will be on bringing together all the expertise and trying to find out what are the actions that could be done at the EU level, whether it can be on the legal and regulatory side or by supporting projects or research. There is one last element that should be actually something that I'm really looking forward to, which is a presentation on cryptographic tools and cryptographic means that are being used today in the healthcare industry in convergence with other technologies, with blockchain in order to secure data and enable the use cases that we are going to cover today. So this is the agenda. Really, the spirit of these workshops is that these are very participative. Of course, we have presentations. Of course, we have panel discussions. But you are the main characters of this event. So please feel free to raise questions. We have plenty of time during the day to exchange, debate, raise proposals. So please feel free to take this opportunity. And finally, one last element, just to give you a bit the stake. So this workshop is the first step into the Observatory and Forum looking into healthcare. So this is where most of the conversations will happen and most of the debates will happen today. But after this workshop, there will be two main elements that will be published. First is a workshop report that will summarize all the discussions that were held today and the main findings. And also there will be a report that will be produced by the Observatory and that will leverage both the discussions from our working groups, the discussions from the forum, and the discussions that were held today. So your inputs are very valuable and will be directly used into the content that is produced by the Observatory. I'm going to stop here and I propose that we jump directly into the topic, and I would like to welcome Chiara and Pierre from the European Commission, Chiara from the European Commission, to give you an update on what's happening. Thank you very much, and please a round of applause for Chiara.
So great. Hello to everybody. Chiara Mazzone and Chiara, Reza, Flavio will speak later. We are all from the Commission. And actually our work, our daily work is to work on digital innovation and blockchain. And therefore I have a 3-slide presentation. It doesn't happen very often from the Commission. So we'll be very, very brief on this, but it's the idea to give you an overview of what we do and what's the vision in Europe for blockchain. So, what we call a blockchain holistic approach is to try to establish global leadership in blockchain and distributed ledger technology in Europe. How to do this? We thought, and actually this was the first initiative that we were funding, the European Blockchain Observatory and Forum, actually because we wanted to have kind of knowledge. What policymakers are not the most well-informed on new technologies. So we acknowledged this and we said that we have to be kind of advised by experts. So one of the initiatives was to create this global European and global expertise, which is the connecting global and European expertise, to try to identify the issues that are at stake in blockchain and to build knowledge and understanding of these technologies. But we also understood that just having expertise and putting expertise together was not sufficient. And so therefore we launched something that is more political, that's the first point, a joined-up political vision with the European Union and with its member states. So last year, in April 2018, we launched what we call the European Blockchain Partnership, which is a consortium partnership which is made up of all the member states, plus Norway and Liechtenstein, that is working together with the European Commission at the European level in creating and building up a kind of European blockchain infrastructure, which is responding to some values which are European, which is data privacy, which is a higher protection against all the threats and the cyber threats that we know today, and which will be deploying very soon by the end of the year, some use cases that the member states have decided to work on at European level. These use cases are defined by some priorities that we do see in Europe, which are digital identity, a more decentralized form of digital identity based on blockchain and self-sovereign identity, diploma certification, and when I say diploma, it's education, but it's all kinds of verifiable credentials that could be attached to your identity. which is taxation, so in the import and exports of goods, and which is notarization for audit purposes, especially related to all the European public spending. So this kind of agreement that we have at European level with all the member states brought us to work together with experts in an open way to define what would be the next generation European blockchain infrastructure. It's very high level, so any question that you may have can be followed up further. Then we said, okay, this is government, this is public-led. This word is coming from the startup, from a very entrepreneurial scene. So we need to find a way to have a kind of public-private partnership. And therefore we helped the connection and we answered actually to the request of industry, big industries, small startups, to get together and to have a kind of advanced dialogue with the regulators. And that's the second initiative, which we call with this public-private partnership, that took the form of INATPA, the International Association for Trusted Blockchain Applications, which was funded in Brussels, so European-based, last April, with the presence of our commissioner, with the presence of several CEOs, 105 founding members from all across the industry, and which is organizing the first global blockchain congress in Malaga from the 11th to the 13th on November. I have the second dedicated slides to this. The idea there is to try to emulate ICANN back to 25 years ago, to try to see at the world level what we can do together, especially on standardization, interoperability, and governance of blockchains. So it's very ambitious. They are setting up a series of working groups that are starting working, where industry is there, is trying to propose something, and is trying to have in dialogue with regulators in a way that this is built global from the outset, and not just trying to have an approach which is European against another approach which is Asia-based. So it's trying to have this global connection between private and public sector. Then we're not just talking with people, we are doing things and we are funding projects. I don't know if Pierre, if you want to say something more specifically or any question that you may have. Do you want to have the word?
No, it's okay, but I invite you to interact with Chiara and myself during the day.
We are here to answer all your questions. So we think that we start from research and innovation, which is a way to have a thriving startup and university ecosystem in Europe. And therefore we are funding several projects. We have already around more than 60 projects that have been funded for around 180 million euros that have been granted since 2013 in blockchain across all different sectors. That's fund from healthcare, Reza will tell us something about this, from mobility, IoT, smart grid, smart homes, and also some more social impact ideas that we can realize through decentralized technologies. One other point of attention is to find the right funding and access to markets of startups. Of course, we know that we are a bit challenged by ICOs. Maybe public funding is not the most effective way to fund this kind of startups, though we do see that there's a request for funding for, I would say, more for startups that are not only getting funded through the ecosystems, and therefore we have a support program and a dedicated fund to artificial intelligence and blockchain that will be launched at the beginning of next year. And please come to us for more information on this. And then, of course, we have thought that with funding, research, innovation, startups, with political alliance at European level, and with this public-private partnership, the picture will not be complete without a kind of framework that ensures legal certainty around many things that we do see as challenges and that the Observatory has already produced very good documentation on, for instance, data privacy, data protection, application of the GDPR and other things. And therefore we are working also on this fifth strand of promoting and enabling a digital single market, I would say, applicable legal framework. And of course, we are invested in standardization and into the works of the international standardization bodies and European bodies. And we also pay a special attention, that will be also the future, to skills development, advanced digital skills development. That will be the next speed that the European Commission is doing with 700 million euros available for funding and for building skills competencies starting from 2021. So this is a bit the context, and I've got one specific call for you, which is convergence. Malaga, 11 to 13 of November. The European Commission, together with the European Blockchain Observatory and Forum, INAPA, the International Association, and Alastria, which is the Spanish blockchain association, is organizing convergence. You have the header there. So what it is, a truly worldwide blockchain congress that wants to bring together regulators all over the world. And when I mean all over the world, we are putting a significant effort to mobilize regulators in Japan, in the US, in Latin America, in Africa, and of course in Europe, to have meaningful discussions and meaningful outputs on blockchain, the next generation digital networks, but also the next generation, we hope, legal frameworks that could help this environment to thrive. And the program has to be released tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, so stay tuned. And tickets are available. They are very affordable, but they are available online at that address. So thank you very much. It was even too long from my side. I'll pass the word to Reza for continuing and going a bit deeper into the healthcare sector.
Thank you very much.
So hi, good morning. Thanks for having me here. Thanks for the organizers. Okay, thank you. The business school hosting us and collaborating with us. I'm here to brief you, provide you a quick overview of our policy actions in e-health. I'm working for the Commission in a unit which is dealing with e-health, well-being and aging under Directorate H, which is in charge of digital society, trust and cybersecurity. This, my glasses. Okay, that's easier. So we are in the process of transforming health and care in Europe. The purpose of this change is to improve health and care services for citizens, but also to put the power in the hand of end users, to empower end users to have access to their data across borders, and to eventually share and reuse their data and provide consent whenever need would be always across borders. In order to achieve this vision of a data-driven healthcare, meaning that every family doctor would have digital services at the desk as a service, we would need to address a number of challenges. Among these, there are a number of policy actions that the Commission has been taking in the past years. I'm going to provide you just pointers to those actions, and I will be happy to take any questions during the day. So we have published this data package a couple of years ago now, which has 5 components. Including a communication on digital transformation of health and care and a communication on artificial intelligence. We have got specific strategies regarding AI. AI is very important in the context of, for example, personalized medicine and innovation of healthcare services, medical devices. We have a specific action regarding genomics data, which is also very important in the context of innovating healthcare services, specifically personalized medicine. Sorry. There has been a recommendation a few months ago on the exchange of electronic health records, which is also a core component of this transformation, overcoming interoperability, specifically semantic interoperability issues. in health and care. And then in order to be able to process huge amounts of health data that we are targeting in order to achieve the policy goals of improving health and care services, then we would need to have supercomputers. And for this purpose, there has been this declaration by the member states and the Commission, with the help of, with the contribution of member states, is currently setting up a joint undertaking, and about €1 billion is already invested in setting up world-class supercomputers in Europe. And of course, blockchain was already addressed by my colleagues. So just the message that I would like to convey here, we are in an assembly of experts and researchers, is that within this policy context, there are opportunities, and I'm just going to try to illustrate through an example that we had last year, in 2018 actually. So we had a call for proposals in the area of cybersecurity in hospitals, cybersecurity and privacy in hospitals and related care environments. The call was not mentioning blockchain, although among the submitted proposals, we had 40 proposals submitted for that call. 15 proposals had the blockchain component, and among the 7 selected proposals for funding, 5 happened to have a blockchain component. Just to give you an overview of these projects that we are running, so Future Cloud is, so they have found, this is about creative minds. People have found within that call opportunities to use blockchain for immutability and management of patient rights. This is Future Cloud. In serums, they are using blockchain to track provenance of data. We have Sphinx, which is using blockchain for countermeasure mechanisms. We have got Panacea, which is using blockchain for data validity, integrity, and availability. And we have got Curex, which is using blockchain. This is the one that I like most to ensure the integrity of the risk assessment process and of all data transactions that occur between the diverse range of stakeholders. So within this context, we are going to have, for the next framework program, different funding instruments, including the Digital Europe program and Connected Europe Facility 2, as well as the Horizon Europe, which is going to be a kind of continuation of Horizon 2020. For the debt, more specifically, is about larger scale deployment. And we have requested, the Commission has suggested 9.2 billion euros, which is going to be invested in many different areas, including health. And then there would be opportunities to grasp for the research and innovation community. So just to share some ideas and for discussions during the workshop, we will be very happy to have this exchange with you, to learn from your expertise in opportunities to use blockchain to address our policy priority areas, typically how to better, how to improve automated decision making in healthcare, or novel forms of organizing healthcare services, eventually using blockchain. And then something that maybe, I don't know, at this stage to me appears a bit unrealistic, but why not discussing it? For cross-border use cases for decentralized, autonomous, and cyber-trustable healthcare services. So just whether the idea would make sense and whether that would be feasible and to what extent. Okay, thank you.